dental podcast
where real people,
real stories,
and real life come together.
This is the Life and Dentistry podcast. All right, hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Life and Dentistry podcast. We have a very exciting episode for you today. We actually have a dental student. This is the first time we've had a dental student on with us besides the dental students that we actually were in dental school with. So we're pretty excited about this. We have on Instagram, he's known as Pat the Dentist. And I have kind of been following him recently on Instagram, kind of seeing his posts, and does some cool things, has some cool posts, and has some cool ideas. So we figured it'd be a good idea to get a current dental student on the podcast. He's doing some cool things. So Pat, we appreciate you being on the podcast with us.
Welcome, man.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's an honor that you guys asked me to be part of this. Seeing you guys around, I've kind of seen what you guys have been up to as well, and I'm loving it. So I think
Awesome.
It made me happy when you guys reached out to me.
Yeah, how you doing up there in Michigan, man?
Hey, it's good. It's a different world because I'm originally from California, so night and day difference, I'd say, during wintertime, that's for sure. But if you like the outdoors, Michigan's where it's at. I mean, the city of Detroit's awesome. So much change has been going on. I don't know if you guys have kind of been reading up about what Dan Gilbert, owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, been doing, and all these other millionaires and billionaires in the cities have been doing in terms of like just rebuilding the city. So that's good in a sense. But at the same time, great outdoors is a couple hours away, and it's something that I've never seen before. Didn't expect it, really.
So where in California are you from?
So I actually grew up in the LA area in this city called Rancho Cucamonga.
Oh, wow.
You guys heard of that, I think, from Workaholics. I think that's probably where they're from. And I went to school in San Diego. So I lived there. I did 5 years of undergrad, majored in both economics and biology there. So that took a little bit of time, and then took a year off and lived there for a total of 6 years. And since then, I've been in Detroit.
Yeah, awesome. So what originally got you interested in dentistry? What was kind of that path for you, the background?
Well, I mean, I've always kind of known that I always had a passion for something healthcare related, something along the lines of medicine. I mean, my mom's a respiratory therapist, so she's been doing that for quite some time. And so I had the opportunity to kind of talk to doctors and be around doctors, and I always kind of liked that lifestyle. I kind of liked the fact that they were improving people's lives, but at the same time, I didn't really like the patient interaction that they had, and I definitely noticed a difference in bedside manner between a dentist and a doctor, and just the fact that you really get to build a rapport with your patients as a dentist, as opposed to a doctor. Because I mean, you think about it, how many times do you see your doc? How many times does the average person see a doctor during the year? Maybe once a year.
Oh, yeah. You don't know anything about them, really.
Exactly, yeah. And most people, they see their dentist at least once a year. I mean, we say you got to go 2 times a year for an exam and cleanings, but at least once a year most people go. And I mean, I know for myself and my family, every time we went in there, it was just, he had a big smile on his face, and he just made it seem like, oh, wow, I'm so glad they're back here and get to hang out, get to see them a little bit more. And that's kind of sparked my interest. But something that really kind of stuck with me was dentistry really kind of allows you to rebuild confidence for individuals. I mean,
oh, yeah.
So many people, I mean, you guys know this, for so many people, they don't smile because they're missing teeth, or they're in pain for whatever reason, and that causes them not to smile. But I mean, think about it for yourself. Like, the first time you meet somebody, what's the first thing you notice? It's probably a smile, at least the first or the second thing that you notice about someone. And a smile, like I said, exudes confidence, shows that you feel like you're doing well in life, that you've got other things going for you. And if you can't smile, I mean, so many other things kind of trickle into play afterwards. And being able to restore somebody's confidence through recreating their smiles, to me, is something that's kind of it's kind of amazing at the same time.
Yeah. I saw something you recently put on, I think it was on Instagram. I don't remember if it was in what format it was, but it was something about a patient that you were talking to, and the way you worded it was kind of like, I can't wait to get started on your new smile. I'm so happy for you, you know, and it was just the way
Yeah.
you worded it was right on. You know, to word it in a way that you're excited for the patient, but you also worded it in a way where it's like your life is going to be changed, you know, because you
Yeah.
are going to fix your smile. And as a result of that, I mean, you got people that couldn't find a job that now can find a job, and a great job, you
Yeah.
know, couldn't find a soulmate, and now, you know, are out. They've got great looking teeth and now can, you know, are dating or find a husband or wife. I mean, it's like huge life things that you can totally make a transformation in somebody's life with rebuilding their smile, you know?
Yeah.
That's one of the things I love about it too.
Yeah, I totally agree 100%. Just life-changing type of thing you can do through dentistry. But yeah, back to what you said about that conversation I had. Ever since I kind of built up my Instagram, over the course of time, I start to get more and more people contacting me, not just from like the Michigan area or from back home in California, but kind of all over the U.S., but at the same time, all over the world. And when I first had people contact me, it was kind of like, oh, this is cool, like asking me questions about dentistry. And this was like my first year or second year. I didn't really know like anything, to be honest, compared to what I do now. So I still thought it was cool that people were reaching out just for advice, or what can I do, or can I see you as a dentist? Can I be a patient of yours? And this individual actually saw something that I posted in the Michigan area, because like I always do like a location tag that says, oh, Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah.
And this individual contacted me and was like, hey, I actually have a screening appointment to potentially become a patient like this upcoming week. I don't know if it's worthwhile. And he's asking a bunch of questions in regards to like payments, and if he'd be able to get certain types of things done that he wanted to get done at the school. And it kind of seemed like he was kind of like on the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of had a quick conversation through text about, well, me trying to put him at ease and just come into the school, and we're here to really try to work with you, and we'll make things work as much as we possibly can in terms of insurance and payments and everything that we can do for you. And like you said, just kind of the way I worded it, it kind of made him excited that like, oh wow, like this guy cares, the school cares, the people at the school actually care. So why not give it a shot? And he messaged me a couple days after he went to the school to say, yeah, I went there. And that was that. So
Yeah. Awesome.
That's awesome, man. Dude, what's your journey been like, you know, kind of starting dental school and becoming Pat the dentist? I mean, was this kind of going on a little bit before you started, or did it all kind of start when you started dental school?
it kind of all started when I started dental school. I mean, believe it or not, like I don't really like Instagram that much. I don't. I think it tends to
So
kind
how,
of waste a lot of.
but how
Sorry.
many followers do you have? So I don't know if we've said it yet.
I actually today I just hit 13,300. So it's a little bit over that. But
God.
I think it's a great tool. That's what I'm saying. It's like social media to me is a double-edged sword, because I think it's really great because it's kind of empowered society in the sense that it gives people a voice that they didn't really have, because population's so large and the voice gets drowned out amongst everyone else's voice. But if you post something captivating, people are going to look, they're going to listen to what you have to say. So I think it's empowering in that sense, and ideas are spread very rapidly. But at the same time, I think it's that double-edged sword, because people spend a lot of time on Instagram or on social media and in any form, kind of just wasting away, just looking at photos or videos of Kim Kardashian and just people doing a waste of time type of stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of got me thinking, because I didn't have an Instagram until I got into dental school. And I'd always been against it, like, oh, I don't need it, I don't need it. And just one day I was kind of like, oh, well, let me go ahead and I'll create it, because just stay in contact with friends from back at home. So I guess I kind of caved into the dark side, so to speak, and just kind of browsing on, just kind of seeing posts, what people are posting, and like I was kind of just, like I said, captivated that so many people are just looking at like stuff that celebrities are posting, or just even random individuals that like nobody knows about, but they have like Instagram fame or something like that. And then I started to stumble a lot onto stuff that other dentists were posting, or other dental Instagram accounts. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, wow, like so many people are looking at this stuff. Like there's something to it. And like I said, so many people are spending so much time on Instagram a day. Why can't they be looking at stuff that I'm posting?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's like, well, I'm trying to kind of prep myself for my future career. So what can I be doing in dental school to best prepare myself for my future career, aside from practicing in the sim lab and aside from studying and learning as much as I possibly can? And to me, that kind of came down to, well, networking. Obviously, you guys know networking is one of the most important things, but then what can I be doing in terms of branding myself, in terms of anything else I can be doing? And that's kind of when I started to realize, well, Instagram and Facebook is a great avenue to kind of build a large base. And so I actually do have a Facebook account as well that's kind of geared the same way. It's called The Dental Student. And originally I was called on Instagram The Dental Student. But I ended up doing a switch because of branding purposes and all that. Like I realized when I become a dentist, it's going to be a lot more difficult to switch with such a larger following. Unfortunately, I can't yet do that on my Facebook page because my school actually, I think it was towards the end of my first year, they contacted me. They're like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, and they try to like kind of rain down on my parade. And
Isn't
like,
it crazy how that happens?
unreal. Like
Dude,
they tried to axe it.
No, we know exactly
We
what
know.
you've gone through, because for us, I told you at lunch today,
Yeah.
we had our conference last year, and it's like the whole time we felt like we had to walk on pins and needles because we were bringing these speakers in from halfway across the country.
Yeah.
And there's all this red tape about dental students can't be given certain things. And
yeah,
so we were able to kind of get around it because one of our speakers helped us get it to a CE course.
Yeah.
And so it was a little bit different. We didn't have to
CE's
watch
legal
ourselves so much because it was considered CE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's crazy. Like, I mean, they're just in so many ways, the mindset of business and dentistry is a no-no in dental school. And we're just not allowed to think that way, and it's so frustrating. So we know exactly where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, it's insane. And so they brought me into a meeting. I mean, when you have a meeting with any administration, they send you an email. Oh, we have an important meeting. They don't say anything like what the meeting's about.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I swear this is what it's about. Like, it has to be this. I didn't do anything. And so I walk into a meeting. It's like 5 people all in a circle, just kind of ambushing me. Like I had an idea,
yeah,
so
that's how they do it.
going into it, but like I guess they were expecting to ambush me. And so they basically told me, oh yeah, there was an alumni, a recent grad who basically said what you're doing is not right.
Oh man,
Stuff along those lines. Like, and I'm like, man, stop being jealous. Like, you're a hater.
Yes, sir. You said it, buddy.
Exactly. Like, it made me happy to realize that, like, I have somebody out there who's jealous because they're not doing something like that, or hating for whatever reason. Because the way I like to look at it, like, is if you don't have haters, you're not doing something right.
Boom.
And so they kind of talked a little bit about that. And like what they saw, oh, you're doing posts like this. And this was like early on in the infancy of everything. I started doing social media, and they saw it like through my Facebook, like I said. So they're basically saying, what are you doing this for? And I kind of had to just give them like the whole like lowdown. I'm doing this for my future career. Like, this is branding purposes. They're like, oh, well, why can't you do it later? I'm like, the time to start is now.
Do
Like,
it
I'm not
later.
trying to do anything in life later. Like,
I mean, think about if you were kept from starting your Instagram account, or you didn't start it. I mean,
Exactly.
there's over 13,000 people that you would not have reached. The whole thing wouldn't have started. We wouldn't have been interviewing right now. So whatever our listeners can get from
Yeah.
you, they wouldn't have heard. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know why people want
Just
to
gonna
hinder
fight it.
you when you're doing something. Your name is going to be the biggest. You're like the biggest dental student in the country right now. That school should be like wanting to push you even more.
Yeah, but at the time, like, I was nothing. I had maybe 500 followers on Instagram, and my Facebook was actually a lot larger because I was like really pushing it through that. And then I started realizing Instagram was a better method, and also because them kind of like tightening everything on Facebook, I'm like, I'm just gonna run with Instagram. So I guess it was like somewhat a blessing in disguise because I started to push Instagram a lot harder, but I still thought it was ridiculous that I had to explain myself. And at the end of it, they were kind of like, okay, like, we see where you're coming from. We see like that you have some sort of a vision where you want to go with this. We'll let it be. Just don't like associate the school with it. Don't post anything Detroit Mercy or whatever, because then it kind of shows like the school is, I don't know what they were saying. The school is like advocating it or is okay or something like that. Now with Instagram, I basically said, you know what? Forget it. Who cares? Like, if they see it, they see it. I don't care, because at this point it's big enough where they need me to a certain extent, not to like be cocky or anything like that, but I'm providing like positive branding for the school at this point.
It's like free publicity for them.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
Now you said you started your Instagram account when you started dental school, correct?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So you're starting your third year now, right?
Yeah.
So basically, in 2 years' time, you went from 0 followers to 13,000 followers.
Pretty much, yeah.
So to me, that's pretty crazy, man. I mean, so like, how did that happen? Like, I mean, what was?
I mean, it was kind of interesting because, like, I think I started around October or something like that, October, November of my first year. And it was just casual stuff posting. And like I said, over the couple months, I started to see like just and how much time people were spending on Instagram. I think like average person spends about 30 minutes a day on Instagram, just looking at random stuff. And I saw a lot of dental posts, like I said, just getting so many likes and so much publicity, and all these dentists as well. And then I think it was like probably around February, March. So a couple months later, I said, you know what, I'm going to run with it, and I'm going to just see what happens. And I've been like during that time reading up a lot about like how to grow your following on Instagram, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. And so I've just been tweaking a lot of different things, and just hit the ground running in March, sending direct messages, which I think is amazing. That's like one of the best things that Instagram put out, has been sending direct messages to big time Instagram accounts like About Dentistry. I'm sure you guys have seen that account. And when I first got into contact with the creator of that, I think they had about 50,000 followers. So that was like around when I first started, and I was like, hey, like, I think what you're doing is amazing. Can you just give me advice or whatever? And so I actually maintain contact with the creator, and we talk every now and then back and forth. But he gave me a lot of advice, like what to be doing, that you should be posting often, you should be doing this, shouldn't be doing that. And so along with his advice and a lot of other people's advice, just kind of try to craft it into my own thing, and how I was going to grow my account. And unfortunately, like, I'm not yet at the point in my career as a dentist where I'm doing enough work to be showcasing it. And that's eventually what I want to be going towards.
But you've got the great platform for that once you get going.
Exactly. And so, like, there's a couple different styles that I guess you can call somebody on Instagram when they post stuff, is like an original content creator, which is somebody who creates their own stuff. Like SF Dental Nerd. I don't know if you've seen this guy's stuff. I think it's hilarious. This guy creates memes of dentistry, and it's the funniest stuff ever. Is this dentist that works at UOP. So that's like an original content creator or a curator, which is basically like a curator that works at a museum. You basically find cool stuff and you just recycle it. And so I kind of have like a little bit of a mixture of both, my own stuff and just recycling cool stuff that I find online. And slowly over the course of time, like when I start getting more patients and start doing more things, like when I'm an actual dentist, I kind of want to phase the, I guess, curating part out and kind of just have more of my original content. Look at this amazing smile, stuff like that I help create. And I think it's going to open up doors in a completely different way, but it's just all about consistency. I mean, you guys probably know that better than anyone else because you guys are doing the same thing and you guys own businesses and you just have to be on your game. I guess
Yeah. So what would you say are a couple do's and don'ts as far with Instagram to, be good at Instagram and kind of gain followers and things like that? What are things to avoid and things to do?
So biggest thing is consistency. Like this isn't something like you just get lucky and you blow up. Like anything you do in life, you have to have a game plan and you have to stick to it. But you also have to be willing to adapt because lots of times you're going to find out something you're doing isn't working. So you got to tweak it or whatever. So it's just being consistent with your posts, like really trying to understand what your followers are looking for. And that's a very good thing. Instagram, a tool that Instagram provides you with is something called Insights. If you have like a business account, which you can tie to like a Facebook page, it gives you basically metrics as to how many people saw this. And you can basically tweak everything based off that, like from what country, what city, like the age average, genders, and all that stuff. So you kind of cater everything towards that and make tweaks based off that. But it's being active, consistently posting, and interacting with your followers. It's super huge. That's a huge thing to be doing is interacting with followers, because if they're just liking your stuff all the time, and you're not giving them any feedback or not showing them any likes or anything like that as well, it's like, well, forget this guy, he doesn't care. So
when you say interact, do you do a lot of, are you like commenting on their posts or liking stuff or sending them direct messages or what?
A little bit of both, a little bit of everything, actually. I mean, definitely likes, comments as well, and direct messages. I mean, I get a lot of people sending me message requests or just messaging me, and I always take the time to respond to somebody, unless it's like marketing or something like that that's just pointless for me at this point. I'm like, whatever, forget that. But other than that, somebody asks me a question. I have a lot of like pre-dental students reaching out, just asking for advice, and I always try to like just reach out back to them and just answer whatever questions. And I think it's just being consistent in that regard as well. Going on like a liking spree for a minute or something like that, liking as many photos as you can for relevant hashtags in your field. And that's another big thing is utilization of hashtags. Really got to utilize that because that allows you to have like a far greater reach with whatever posts that you're posting. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize. I mean, if you have a huge account, like you look at About Dentistry or I don't know, a celebrity or whatever, they don't necessarily need to be using hashtags because they got hundreds or millions of followers. So that's fine. But as a small account that's trying to grow, you got to utilize those hashtags. And I mean, it might be annoying to some people, but I'm not doing it for those people. There are people that you're doing it for, and those are people you essentially who actually like what you're doing, and at the same time, potential patients in the future.
Yeah. Do you consider the time of day that you post?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's another thing that insights give you is when your users, not when they're liking your photos, but when they're most active. And I think that's the most like interesting thing is it just gathers the data of when they're on Instagram the most. And I mean, it kind of starts around 9 a.m., 10 a.m. or something like that, and then peaks around lunchtime, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and starts to dip. So that's something that's definitely important. But it's also you want to get as many likes as possible, or like enough activity on a post as possible as soon as possible at the same time. So if your core group of like followers, which kind of tends to be like people closest to you, if they're most active at a random time of the day, like then that's kind of when you should be posting. Or whoever is like your main group of people that are going to be liking you, you kind of want to cater around that too. So post around that time. So it's a lot of different things like that. But as long as you post, like I say, between 9 to like 11 a.m., you can definitely gain some traction.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. So how do you when we talked earlier, you were obviously interested in entrepreneurship and the business side of dentistry. Whether it's through your social media or even outside of social media, for dental students, pre-dents, new dentists, what are things that you have done, that you've researched, that you've seen are beneficial when it comes to learning about the business side of dentistry and not just the clinical side? Because it's another thing to throw out there to any dental students or pre-dents that are listening, if you can, for me, I feel like one of the best things you can do in dental school is to not only do things the way they want you to do it, because that's how you kind of get through dental school.
Yeah.
But to also have in the back of your mind how it's done in private practice, because it's a totally different world. So if you can be thinking in terms of business and in terms of how clinically it's done out in the real world, I feel like you're going to get a better education. You're going to be more prepared in the future. So, do you try to have that same mindset, and what would you suggest people out there in dental school to kind of get prepared to be in the real world?
I think first and foremost, people, they have to be realistic that like, yeah, you love doing dentistry and you love helping people, but at the end of the day, if you want to own your own business or if you want to be practicing dentistry, you have to be able to make money to pay off your debts, to make ends meet, or you're not going to be able to be practicing dentistry. And so I think people need to have a certain expectation with that first and foremost. But at the same time, I think having a mentor is probably the most important thing. And finding a mentor in an area that you find is very, very important for you. Like if business and dentistry is important, find a mentor who owns practices or who's all about that hustle when it comes to building practices, getting patients in their door. Or if it's about the military life for dentistry, find a mentor like that, because they've gone through it. They know everything well, at least they know a lot more than you, and you can pick their brain and things
key.
like that. But absolutely.
That's the key, man. You gotta, if you don't know how to do it, you gotta find somebody who did it and just
Exactly.
follow.
I know for us, man, with mentoring and networking, that's been absolutely huge.
It's huge, man. I noticed, and I don't know, I think it might be our generation, but I feel like a lot of people our age seek good mentors. I don't know if the generation of dentists ahead of us were like that, but I feel like everyone, kind of the millennials, if you will, are really seeking out people who are genuinely willing to lead and guide you to that next level.
I agree 100% with you. I don't know why that's the case. I mean, I have like my theories. I think to a certain extent it could be now because you have like a lot of these tech individuals or just entrepreneurs who didn't finish college, who kind of had school of hard knocks or whatever, and they made their fortunes that way and through networking and through mentorship. And I think that's kind of like been instilled in people to a certain extent where, if you need the education to a certain extent, but experience, and that experience coming from somebody who's gone through it, I think a lot of people understand that that's something that's just as valuable, if not at times more valuable.
Yeah, I always say a smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from someone else's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice job.
A lot of good business people learn from their mistakes a lot of ways too. It's like those goof ups. That's how you learn in a lot of ways. And Joe, something that you mentioned yesterday is that business people and entrepreneurs and leaders learn from doing, not watching other people do.
That's it.
Exactly.
And so I think, Pat, that's something that I see in you, that you're, whether it be through social media or you're networking through school. And I know you went with some classmates and some faculty from the school down to Arizona to see kind of how Midwestern is doing the stuff that they do. You're not just watching other people do it. You're involved. You're getting yourself out there. You're learning. You're seeking advice. You're giving advice. That's what it takes to be successful. You can't just be the one on social media watching other people do it.
Can't be on the sidelines
doing it. Yeah.
do
And
it.
you're going to make mistakes, but that's how you learn.
Exactly.
You may have a bad post and it doesn't get the likes, it doesn't get the feedback, and you figure out, okay, this is why, and now you know not to do that.
Yeah.
Same
It's
thing.
like that.
Same thing with dentistry. Same thing with business.
Yeah.
It's not so much asking people how to do it all the time. There is that part of it.
Yeah.
There's only so much research you can do. Once you get to a certain point, it's just a matter of doing it.
Yeah, you can
And
only read about it so much until you get in there. It's like in dental school, Pat. I know it's the people who are really successful clinically are the ones who aren't afraid to go in there and do it. Get in there and pop a tooth, break a file, break a root tip.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing is, you want to be making these mistakes in dental school because
I was just about to say that.
you have the best educators around you who are able to guide you through probably almost any problem that you can experience in dentistry. So why wouldn't you want to be able to go through something like that? And at the end of the day, who cares if you mess up? I mean, obviously you don't want to do something extreme, but like something minor or whatever, you learn from your lesson, from your mistakes, and you learn a lesson that way. And hopefully you don't make those same mistakes. But I mean, there are a lot of people, they just stand on the sideline and it's like, okay,
you say that, and to me, I think you have to make a conscious effort not to, because me growing up and even kind of now, I think I'm naturally timid.
Yeah.
But I know what I'm supposed to do. Like, I know I need to do what I'm fearful of.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It's like,
no, you're totally
it's like a gut feeling almost.
Yeah. It's like I don't want to do it, but I do it. And every time I've made those big decisions in life, it's like, I don't want to do it. I'm waking up in the morning, I'm sick because I know I've got to do this big thing today, but I did it anyway. And it's kind of made me who I am and where we're at.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Have you guys ever heard of Mel Robbins?
I don't think I'm familiar with Mel Robbins.
Don't think so, no.
Oh, man, she's this amazing human being. She is like a CNN contributor, an author, a writer. She's founded her own company, like multiple companies. And this lady was pretty much a couple years back at like hit rock bottom. And she kind of developed this method. I wouldn't necessarily say she developed it, but she kind of discovered just how people are wired. And she had this thing, it's called the 5-second rule. And it's pretty much whatever pops into your head where a decision needs to be made, you have 5 seconds to make that decision. And once those 5 seconds are done, that's it. Like, it's gone. Your body, you're just not going to get up to do whatever it is that you need to do. And so that's kind of how she dragged herself out of like this mode of depression and just kind of being a sloth, I guess, and being down on herself into kind of grinding and setting herself up for success. And like, I've definitely applied that like to a lot of things. I mean, you're sitting down, I don't know, eating food or doing whatever, something that's just wasting time. And you're like, I got to do this. I have to go study. I have to go to the store to buy this right now. And 5 seconds, you got to make that decision. Yes, get up, just get up. And once you get up, like, you're already halfway there, like you've committed. So
that's powerful. That's really simple, but
she does it a lot better than I do. But check her out. I mean, she's inspiring.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
So, Pat, when we were talking earlier, you said that you had met Mark Costas. Can you explain that to me again? How did you know Mark?
Yeah. Okay. So I used to work in a perio office for a year before I started dental school, and he has this group. It's called, I believe, the Mastermind Group, where dentists and specialists from all over the country meet at some random location. Seems to be like it's San Diego pretty much all the time, which
Mhm.
was great because that's where I was at. And so a couple of them meet up and they just discuss like what's working for them, what's not working for them. And my boss at the time was a part of that group. And she's like, Pat, I know you want to go into dentistry, like you applied to dental school and you're going to be starting soon. Like, please come to this with me. And took like another coworker who's also at the time trying to get into dental school as well. And she's like, this guy's amazing. Like, he just knows everything about how to build a dental practice and how to just brand himself and bring patients in and the whole 9 yards, you know? And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's do it. And went there and just kind of got my mind blown, like just how he was so organized and strategic with everything he did, and but charismatic at the same time. Like people loved this guy, and just kind of briefly spoke with him like over the course of the weekend, and learned that he was an alumni from UCSD, and he went to Marquette for dental school, and just I thought he was one of the few people that I met in dentistry who just really kind of captivated people with
Mhm.
their presence, and read his book after that, and read it again, and planning to definitely read it once I graduate as well. And I
Yeah.
think this guy's amazing. Actually, it's funny because I saw him on Instagram not too long ago. I didn't know he had an Instagram, and it was before we had set this up and we had talked about it. And I just shot him a message. He didn't see it, but I shot him a message basically saying, I admire everything you do. Like, I met you a couple years back in San Diego with my boss and all that. Like, and just kind of give him a shout out, some props and all that, because I think what he does is great. Hopefully he sees it. If not, I guess he doesn't. But I
Yeah,
think,
so he's kind of off and on. He's been off and on it with his Instagram.
yeah,
One of our friends, his name is Tiger Safarov. He started Zen Supplies, which is
okay,
kind of it's like the company basically helps keep inventory for dental practices. That's
yeah,
one of the big things that they do. And Tiger was the original one that went to Mark and was like, Mark, you got to get this Instagram.
yeah,
Instagram, you'd have a ton of followers. You'd be really successful with Instagram. So Mark started his Instagram account and then just fell off. I think he made like 2 or 3 posts or something and just
yeah,
quit
He's got
posting.
so much going on. Hey,
yeah,
maybe
Yeah.
you can meet back up with him again at the Life and Dentistry conference this year.
yeah,
Yeah. So Tiger then went down recently and was like, "Hey, Mark, you gotta you gotta start this Instagram back up." So he
yeah,
made a few more posts, and they actually Tiger and Mark sent us a message on Instagram, kind of a video message, just saying, "Hey, and we're trying to get Mark back on Instagram and
yeah.
whatnot." So it's cool. But we have you heard of the Voices of Dentistry conference?
No, I can't say I have.
So I know you haven't been real big in listening to dental podcasts, which I would really, really suggest for any dental
Yeah,
student out there, dentist, pre-dent. If you can get on and listen to dental podcasts, it's like free CE that is
Yes.
so good. I mean, you get so much information, not just clinically, but for me, what's even better with the podcasting is the business side of it.
yeah,
And Mark Costas has one of the best ones, Dentalpreneur podcast, and that is Mark and his podcast really has done a whole lot for us and kind of our outlook on dentistry.
yeah.
So Mark and some of the other big names in dental podcasting had they called it the Voices of Dentistry Summit that was down in Nashville, Tennessee last year.
Oh, cool.
And just an awesome weekend. A bunch of dental podcasters got together, talked dentistry, talked business of dentistry, real encouraging weekend. And we went down there and made some awesome connections.
Yeah,
And they're doing another one. It's January. It's like the third weekend of January in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Oh, okay.
So if you could pull off getting there, dude, you would love it.
Yeah, tell me the dates. Like, shoot me a message. Let me know.
Yeah,
Like, I
I'll
would
send you a
love
message.
to.
I think it's the week before the Super Bowl this year.
Yes, the week before,
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah,
But see,
I'll get
here's
you-
Is it
Here's
a week or like weekend?
It's a weekend. It's a
It's like
weekend.
Yep.
Huge
Friday.
networking, man. This would
Yeah.
be huge.
it'll be a Friday and Saturday.
Should be able to go.
I'll tell you, man, we went there. Of course, when we went, we were still dental students. It was their 4th year this
Yeah.
past year. So, and it was, I think we actually went for dental students. It was free, right?
No,
Or no,
it was
no,
like
no, it was-
$500, dude.
No. It was like
300, couple hundred.
200 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was a
Best
super.
best $200
Yeah.
I've ever spent.
Yeah,
Best.
but I'm talking like, I mean, there was a ton of, obviously it was based around the podcasting world, but we're talking like, obviously Mark Costas was there. I mean, other big name people who have kind of like developed, are trending in dentistry, like the
Yeah.
people you want to hear talk. And I mean, it was an unreal event, like from a dental standpoint, man, like we all took, our notebooks with us. I mean, we had so much information clinically written down, business stuff written down, and the connections we made, the people we met. I mean, it's like every dental student in the world, like in definitely in the U.S.
Yeah.
needs to go to this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
I'm
it's
telling
almost
you,
a
Pat,
must.
Pat, this is one of those things that
You guys are really selling me on this right now.
Hey,
I was
seriously,
huge.
it's one of those things, Pat, where it's like I'm telling you as a friend, you cannot miss that.
Yeah.
It will change your life. It will change your outlook on dentistry. You will make awesome.
I'm definitely going to take a look into this. I'm writing it down.
well, it's like, I mean, think about the second day we were there. We were eating breakfast in the conference at the hotel, and Gary Tex and Mark Costas just sat down at the table with us, and we're just
They're
shooting
the
the
most
bull.
famous
Just-
people
yeah.
in the industry. Just sit down there and
Yeah.
eat breakfast with you, and
Yeah.
we're like starstruck and became great friends with both.
yeah.
Gary ended up on his own dime, came to Lexington for the Life and Dentistry conference, and impacted our whole dental school really.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of how that conference got started, really. Like it was on that conversation with Gary, and it kind of went from there,
Unreal.
So what they're talking about is we did January of this year, we did our own conference called the Life and Dentistry Conference. We kind of got the idea, started it, and had about a month to plan it.
Yeah.
We ended up with over 100 dental students and dentists. We had three big name dentists come and speak. We had 2 people through drawings got sent to Implant Pathway CE course.
Wow.
Like put them up in a hotel room. I mean, where'd
you guys get the money for this?
Implant Pathway and Pro Smiles Lab and
Sponsored?
Affordable Dentures and Implants sponsored it,
Yes.
Wow.
along with Justin Moody.
And that's where we were talking about. It was a CE. Dr. Justin Moody made that a CE event. That's how we
You
could.
guys got through that red
yeah,
tape.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll mention you to Dr. Moody. He might get you on his podcast too. He would.
That would be amazing.
He would think it's really cool because they have a really cool implant course, and they're trying to get the word out to some of the younger guys, like the dental students, to kind of hear about it, when they come out of school. So
You have
a
no
huge voice
idea
for him.
how badly dental students want to be placing implants.
I know. That's what I told him.
It's insane. Like,
We'll
they
put
just
you
have
in contact.
so much red tape and so many barriers that are just preventing students from doing that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. And it's made to be like this mythical thing and so difficult, that only the specialists can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't need to be such a big fearful thing, I mean, it's not terribly difficult.
It's not.
Well, I mean, look at our Instagram account. I mean, I think we posted a couple pictures where Lewis, another guy in our group, he's at this implant course this weekend, and he's placed. I mean, looked like
16, 18 implants already, like in a day and a half.
Yeah.
And we just graduated.
The course is legit too, man.
Yeah.
Like I think he did like a lateral wall sinus lift today.
Yeah.
Implant Pathway, look it up, man. Really good stuff.
So we'd love to see you. We'd love to see you down there in Scottsdale for the Voice of Dentistry conference. We'd love to get you to Lexington for ours too, the Life and Dentistry conference.
Both of them are in January.
Theirs will be in January. We're still working on the exact date of ours. Ours will be maybe January, maybe February. Last year we did it in March, and it kind of hit right at March Madness.
Okay.
It kind of interfered a little bit. So, but we're working on some dates.
Let me
I'll
know.
let you know. Yeah, we'll let you know.
Yeah, I definitely try to come down there. I think those are great opportunities, and like you guys said, I mean, I haven't been, but like I've heard these names, I've read some of the stuff they've been doing, and blows my mind. And I think these are people should be looking up to.
Yeah. What's cool to think about, like the future of where things are going. Like we're just the young people in dentistry. Like we're just getting started.
Yeah.
And talking about mentors, like we've sought out mentors, like our mentors, like Justin Moody, Mike Frymouth, Mark Costas, Alan Mead, like these guys to us are mentors.
Yeah.
And we're kind of following their lead. And then, hopefully the cycle can repeat itself, when we're, established in our career, we'll be able to do the same for others. It's really cool.
I got a question for you guys. What do you guys think about like the trends in dentistry in terms of like going away from private practice and like I guess solo ownership, and more so government really trying to get involved, and corporations?
As an entrepreneur and a business person, I want to fight it, man.
Yeah.
I think, to me, I want to kind of be I want to start that. Like I want my own core group of practices. I don't want to be controlled and just go in and get a paycheck. That's my view on it.
Yeah.
What about
when
you?
When you say the government like controlling, what do you mean, Pat?
Like FQHCs, the federally qualified like health centers, and all those types of centers that are popping up everywhere, and then obviously corporations on the other side.
So it's like a public health.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a need for public health. We're all we all kind of see ourselves as business people at heart.
Yeah.
And all want our own practices. We've talked about kind of doing a conglomerate and kind of joining practices and kind of having our own somewhat of a DSO in the future. But, that's some people that may work best for them, but for us and what we want, we like the idea of kind of controlling how we want to run our practice, not other people telling us how we need to do it or how we need to charge patients or how many patients we need to see a day and all that. We feel like we have a vision of how patients should be handled, best treatment for patients, and we want to have say in kind of how we run our practices. So that's kind of our group. That's really more the mindset we have about it.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Only reason I say that is because back when I was an undergrad, my current dean, when he goes on like his speaking tours to all these pre-dental groups, he came to my school, and one of the things he told us was basically said like your graduating class, 94%, like in not just at this school, but like all across the country, 94% of you guys are never going to own your own practice. And that's just because of how the trends are. And because you know how like deans, they have like their own area of focus in dental school. Some do research, some do like a forward look into the future, whatever their passions are. And I guess that's his like area, or his forte is like kind of predicting the trends of dentistry. And so that always kind of stuck with me. Like that made me like kind of light a fire under my ass, basically saying like, I gotta step up, because I'm not trying to be that 94%, trying to be that 6%. But at the same time, it was kind of startling. Like, wow, that could be a reality,
Yeah. I think part of it, because of the loans that dental students have, that burden, it's forcing more people to go into more of a public health setting, or more into like an Aspen Dental or something like that. So I think it's a little tougher right now just because of the debt load. But I mean, if people want to go out there and own their own practice, I mean, there's great ways of doing it. Right now, there's so many kind of baby boomers that are kind of on their way out, you know, and I think it's one of the best times to buy dental practices, not go out and buy practices that are already making $1.5 million. You know, it's more of those practices that are kind of in the dumps, so to speak.
And you flip it.
They're nice. Yeah, they're nice practices, but they're on paper still. You know,
It's
they
still
may
got
not
cash flow. Really, the market's turning where it's going to be nice for people who are entrepreneurs and do want to have things, because there is going to be more people that actually want to be employees versus an employer. That's just kind
of. Here's the thing too. So, you know, we talked about the debt and everything. So this is coming from, so I'm from Tennessee, and obviously, you know, we all went to the University of Kentucky. So I was out of state. So I paid the out of state tuition, okay, which was not cheap. Now I know there are other dental schools out there that probably were more expensive, like maybe a Midwestern, I think, because it's, I guess, privately funded. Is that correct? Am I saying that right?
Yeah. Well,
so
mine's more expensive than that.
So yeah. So I mean, but my thing is, a lot of people, if you talk to older dentists, when you talk about our debt numbers, they're like, oh man, like you hear the word crippling and it's just, you're just going to be in debt for a long time. But here's one thing that, like, I don't think a lot of people really think about, and I have to have this mindset because of the debt that I am in, is that if even though you are in a ton of debt, that does not mean you still can't make money being in debt. Is that, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you spent money to get through dental school, okay? But don't let that control you, and don't let that control your decision making. You know, like, if you want to own a practice, go buy one. Like, I mean, because
that degree gives you the ability to make a bunch of money.
Yes. Yeah. And if you're smart, I mean, you know, obviously don't just go out day one and buy a Ferrari, or, I mean, which you probably couldn't anyways, but you know what I'm saying? Like, just like a brand new Corvette or just something just outrageous. Be smart with your money, but don't let that hinder you from making those, like, passionate decisions.
Yeah.
You know?
And Pat, this is the type of stuff that people will be talking about at the Voice of Dentistry conference.
Yeah.
About our conference.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's just like you leave with so much encouragement, and their mindset is so much about having your own practice, being an entrepreneur, being a business person, taking back our careers, because so much of the time we're told, no, you're going to have to go into corporate, you're going to have to go into public health. And these group of dentists are saying, no, we went to school for a long time. We have the ability to make money. Now let's go out. This is how we need to do it. Purchase practices, you know, turn them over and sell them, or purchase practices and build it up. I mean, it's so encouraging, and these people are brilliant, and they help you along. It's just awesome. And I think it's an awesome time to be in dental school, to be almost a dentist, to be a new dentist. I think it's a really encouraging time. It's an awesome time to especially if you're a business person, you're an entrepreneur. I think it's a perfect time.
That's right. Be like Pat. Be like Pat. That's what this is about.
That's right. So Pat, this has been a blast.
Yeah,
I know you've got a big day tomorrow as Joe plays with his little.
I want to show you this.
Where's it raining right
coming
now?
in from
the weatherman now?
West here. It's gonna move in. Tennessee's fixing to get a lot of rain.
How's Pat's weather looking?
Rolling out.
What's pretty good right now, right?
So for our listeners, you have to go to YouTube and watch the video to this. I figured out how to get a green room, and I can actually get a virtual background, and I've got the weather pulled up behind me like I'm a meteorologist.
Oh gosh!
I've always wanted to do this. This is.
Oh gosh,
that's awesome. So, Pat, before we let you go, you've got a big trip coming up. You're heading to Guatemala. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's 16 students and 3 faculty. So 19 of us tomorrow. We're flying out, getting up at like 3:30 in the morning, flying out there, and we're going to be there for a week, about like 4 days, just doing dentistry, just providing care in this like rural place in the mountains called Chichicastenango.
Mm-hmm.
We've been there last year, and I believe the year before a group went as well, and just really trying to do some positive things, impact lives. And it's a lot of extractions, unfortunately, because of their situation and how bombed out their teeth are. But I mean, we do the best that we can.
Yeah, it's good for them, and it's good for
Yep.
the dental students to get experience. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
well, we hope you have an awesome trip. This has been fun. I think you kind of have the same vision as we do, not only with business, but also one of our big things is there's been a lot of people along the way that have helped us out in our, early careers and through dental school. We've learned things along the way. And one of our goals with this podcast is to help people out that are a few years behind us, getting into dental school or in dental school or also going through the same things we are right now as new dentists, just trying to hash our way through the career of dentistry. And, I think you kind of have that same idea of just business oriented and being there for the people around you and the people under you. And I think it's an awesome mindset to have. And so, we want to be there for you if you need any help along the way. And
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
definitely let us know and let us know if we can do anything for you. And we'd love to see it at Voices Dentistry in Arizona, and then maybe back in Lexington.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta try to get out there. Sorry, say that again.
We will definitely meet up and hang out. We'll come to
Oh
you.
yeah, me too.
Joe, how'd you get to the beach now already?
So I'm fixing to get into my trunks, guys. Y'all enjoy the rest of the interview.
Rip his shirt off. Keep it on, please.
People got to get on YouTube. You guys have got to see this.
Oh, man. Well, hey, thanks, man. Pat, it's been awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's been awesome talking to you guys. I really appreciate you guys reaching out to me. Great talk. You guys are awesome guys, and it seems like you guys have a lot of insight, like in terms of what you guys want to do going forward, and like you guys said, just mentorship as well.
Yeah, and all y'all out there, follow Pat. Look him up, Pat the Dentist on Instagram. You won't regret it.
Doing big things.
Doing big things.
Huge.
Awesome, man.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, you want to finish, John Wesley?
Yeah, we'll. All right, guys. Thank you all for tuning into the episode. Like we always say, we couldn't do this without you guys. We'll keep doing it until we got even if we have one download, maybe two. I think Joe's grandma always listens, so hopefully as long as she's listening, we'll still be doing the show. So be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can find us at Life and Dentistry Podcast, and on Twitter at Life and Dent. And if you have any questions for us, you can reach out to us, lifeanddentistry@gmail.com. And be sure to head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and hit the subscribe button so you never miss another episode. And with that, we'll catch you next time.
See y'all.
The Dental Podcast, where real people, real stories, and real life come together.
This is the Life and Dentistry Podcast.